So, welcome back. We are Arya Nagarjuna investigators, hot on the trail of of it's June 25th, sorry, 2025. Let's gather our minds here as we usually do, please. Bring your attention to your breath until you hear from me again. Now bring to mind that being who for you is a manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom, and see them there with you. They are gazing at you with their unconditional love for you, smiling at you with their holy great compassion, their wisdom radiating from them, that beautiful golden glow encompassing you in its light. And then we hear them say, bring to mind someone you know who's hurting in some way. Feel how much you would like to be able to help them. Recognize how the worldly ways we try to help fall short. How wonderful it will be when we can also help in some deep and ultimate way, a way through which they will go on to stop their distress forever. Deep down, we know this is possible. Deep down, we know this is what we're meant to become. Learning about emptiness and karma, we glimpse how it's possible. And so I invite you to grow that wish into a longing. And that longing into an into an intention. And that intention even into a determination. And then with that strong intention, turn our minds back to our precious holy being. We know, they know what we need to know, what we need to learn yet, what we need to do yet. Become one who can help this other in this deep and ultimate way. And so we ask them, please teach us that. And they are so happy that we've asked. Of course, they agree. Our gratitude arises. We want to offer them something exquisite. And so we think of the perfect world they are teaching us how to create. We imagine we can hold it in our hands, and we offer it to them, following it with our promise to practice what they teach us, using our refuge prayer to make our promise. Here is the great earth, filled with fragrant incense and covered with a blanket of flowers. The great mountain, 4 lands, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kauniyatayami. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing in this investigation and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing in this investigation and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing in this class or in this investigation and the rest, may all beings awaken for the benefit of every single other. So I admit and apologize, I'm not well prepared here. I share screen. Text. Get us started. Like I'm not operating on all cylinders this morning. Whoops. There. Are we seeing our opening? Okay. Elsie was there first again. Elsie gets to, she can probably recite it from memory by now. You don't have to, but I'll bet you could if you had to.
Yeah, if I had to. Here I have made a song for you on the very root of the middle way, which I call wisdom. In the language of India, this text is called Prashna Nama Mula Madhyamaka Karika. In the language of Tibet, it is known as Uma Sewe Siklu Dipashara. In English, we call it wisdom, a song on the root of the middle way. Bow down to Manjushri, the glorious gentle voice in his guides as a teenage boy.
Oh, Joanna, 1.1, please.
I bow down to that highest of teachers, to the fully enlightened one who teaches us to reach that peace where our fantasies about how things exist are put to a final rest.
fantasies. Janet, 1.2, please.
I bow to the one who taught us that things happen in dependence. Nothing ends and nothing begins. Nothing stops, but nothing ever lasts forever. Nothing comes and nothing goes. No two things are different, nor are any two the same.
Okay. Elsie, 1.3.
Nothing grows from itself, nothing grows from something else, nothing grows from both, and nothing grows without a cause. There is nothing at all that grows at all.
All right. So, chapter 1, he goes through all the different ways that some Saryakumans believe things come from other things, cause and effect. And he shows us that the way we think cause and effect is functioning, when you really look into it, we see that it can't be happening like that. And his conclusion is therefore has no nature. Cause and effect has no nature. And as we are becoming clearly aware that what he means by no nature is no nature of its own, right? Always depending on multiple factors to be what we think it is. But what our ignorant minds hear when he says da 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 has no nature, bah, right? Suddenly, no nature doesn't exist. And then we even hear words like, they are illusory, right? What? That brick wall that I just fell and hit my head, it's illusory. It is not, right? It hurt. I made it up. I didn't fall. Right? Our minds do this thing automatically, even when we are intellectually trained. At least we think we're trained to know what it means. If we're really honest, I'm talking about myself. If I'm really honest and I'm watching my reaction every time I hear the no nature, it's like doesn't exist. And then of course, swiftly, what? And I add the words, no nature of its own, independent of me, right? To get myself back in the middle way. But that means that to need to add those words means I'm misunderstanding. So it helps me not misunderstand further, but then I hear it again, I read it somewhere, it has no nature, and I find the pattern happening when I'm studying, when I'm preparing a class, right? When I come across this stuff, when I'm out in the real world, what did I just say out in the real world? Right? When I'm out in the no nature world, maybe I could get it better. But we're out in the no nature world doing the things that we do. We're engaged in doing them. It takes our attention to do them well. And it's so difficult to at the same time having this thinking, no nature, ripening seeds, nothing real, right? Without over the cliff of it doesn't matter. And it's like I can only be in one world or the other, it feels. But that too has no nature, right? So it'll shift as well as we try. Yes, Janet.
Okay, so it came up in maybe not meditation, but it came up after meditation. This thing where I lose my focus. But
Uh-huh.
but if I try really hard to keep my focus, then I'm overanalyzing things, and that doesn't help either. And so I just have to sort of accept that I don't have a great focus. But the horrible thing is I have a great focus when I feel threatened, and then I feel like I have to do something right away. And then it's like the 12-step people that say, well, you don't really stop drinking until you hit rock bottom. So like I almost have to hit rock bottom before I'll choose to change something, which is terrible that this is like this. So I
Yeah,
would say that losing focus, if you're over analyzing and being super diligent, that's not what they mean. I don't think that's what the teachings mean. Is there something more natural about what they mean, that your mind is more naturally not so turbulent? Because the over analyzing is like that, that there were the three rivers, the one that was really turbulent, and then the Ganges, and then it was more peaceful when it went to the ocean.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that I have that turbulence. I'm over analyzing, and then people say, but you're not focused. But then I go to over analyzing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I get you. Yeah. We're looking for the middle way. And I find my mind thinking of that middle way as something that I will reach. And we understand as we overanalyze, no, it's something I'm creating. So you're absolutely right. When we recognize we're overanalyzing and that agitation is reducing the focus further, yeah, okay, let's let it go and slide back into the, like, whatever the pattern is we're trying to develop. We'll get there. That's why we're doing this. So chapter 1, the causes we think are causes are not the real causes, not that they don't exist or they aren't involved, they are happening, but that's not the real cause. Like, there's a deeper cause for the cause and effect relationships that we see in our world. When we say there's no cause and effect, we don't mean not at all. We mean that cause and effect that appeared to happen, it was our seeds ripening for that cause and effect to work. And that's where it does take this repeated analyzing to catch that nuance, that when we're saying cause and effect has no nature, we're not saying that you don't need a carrot seed to make a carrot plant. We do. And that's karmic seed ripening driven, that we need a seed for a carrot plant. It's not driven by the seed and the contributing factors. Our karma is what makes us need a carrot seed to make a carrot plant and a tomato seed to make a tomato plant. And so it's true. Right? So cause and effect has no nature doesn't mean they don't exist. It means they function in the way that they function according to the experience of the, like, one who's the subject side, who's talking about it, experiencing it, etc. Okay, my seed's ripening, cause of effect, versus cause and effect happening all on its own. So that's what starts the whole rest of the book, is that we hear him saying no cause and effect at all when he says it has no nature, when what he was trying to lay out for us was, no, the fact that anything works in these different cause and effect relationships is a result of our own karmic seeds, which if we like caught on, we'd go, wow, like I did something good, that I created a world where there are certain laws of cause and effect that we can work with. Right? Once we understand that they don't have natures of their own, when the carrot seed doesn't make a carrot plant, we won't be upset. All right, my seeds didn't make it happen this time. Yes, Elsie.
Now, Mom, I'm thinking, um, when we plant a seed, our our karma is the one that determines what comes out. Right? Could it be that any seed we plant, and if we have the right karma, then it could become whatever that we want.
Technically, yes.
So even if I don't have a carrot seed, or I don't know it's a carrot seed, but I want a carrot, so I just plant it and ensure that I have the karma to see a carrot grow. It
Right.
will.
Right.
Technically, that is
Technically,
what is.
yes.
I think for us, what like for me, there I have the tendency of um splitting my life, or caught, I would say, I put my life in certain compartments. Okay, I'm now in Dharma class, so this is what I should do, you know. So when I'm not in Dharma class, oh, I can let my head down, I can do other things. So so I think I need to discipline myself in the sense that regardless of where I am, the invisible line between the Dharma class and the non-Dharma class must be erased.
Yeah. Yeah. Once that conclusion comes from our own, recognition, it's like, oh, I'm delaying the inevitable by doing that. Then we get right motivated isn't the right word. We get inspired, right, to recognize that, really making the effort to stay on my best behavior always it isn't because somebody said so. It isn't, right? It's because it really is gonna ease my progress of this transformation I've been saying I really want to make, but I wasn't really acting consistently with that, right? That's a deep self-realization we need to decide. And I love that term, let my hair down, because it is like that, right? There are certain circumstances where we're on our best behavior. We know how to do it, we can do it, but it's an effort and it's not natural. And really, I want to be more relaxed than me, but relaxed me is selfish me, and selfish me plant seeds in ways that I justify as being right, but in the long run, right, it's going to come back to hurt us all. So then at some point it occurs to our own self, no, my best behavior, me, really, that's the one I want to be my default. But one will reach that oneself. No teacher should, if no, I hope that we don't impose that on people. Rather educate and inspire and etc. because it's a hard conclusion to come to, because it sounds like somebody's telling you, you know, be good, be good, be good, be good. And that just is situations to get taken advantage of. And it can't, I hope you get what I'm understanding. It
Yeah,
comes when it comes from our own heart.
I've recently a friend was complaining to me that it's very difficult for her to talk to her daughter, and her daughter is currently working in the war zone. So she is worried, and then she was telling her, you should you because this girl also knows the SID system. So the mom was telling the daughter, recall your the life protection seeds you have been planting, and then do some medicine Buddha chanting at the side. Just peace of mind. And the daughter turned around, you don't have to teach me. I know all this. And I was telling her, well, sometimes we have to look back. And I can't tell her, no, it is us. We had planted this seed, because she would turn around and bite me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's so difficult to tell her. Yeah, so I said, sometimes you have to be patient. They're young, they're hot-headed. What else can I say?
Yeah. It's hard not to turn our Dharma onto somebody else, especially when the somebody else knows the Dharma too. I do that with David all the time. Yes, Janet.
So, I mean, the 7-point mind training says to work on your big issues, right? So I picked gossip and restraints and taking a tone with Doug and being a bump on the log with Master Shantideva. But despite this,
Yeah.
when there was ignorance at work, I decided to point it out to my supervisor. And
And
my Pilates teacher and my Ney Lama said there's ignorance everywhere. If you work someplace else, there's still going to be ignorance. You should work it out with her. And then I quit. And then I didn't get the jobs I applied for. And then I stayed there. And then I was complaining, like your friend complained. I was complaining to my coworker. And then she quit. And then my supervisor was mad at me. And then this week, she decided that she's been thinking about things and things weren't workable the way they are because things have changed because we had another supervisor leave. And she asked me if I moved to the west side if she moved to the west side, the ladies to the west side where she lives, would I go with them? So it went from like I like my job, and then didn't like it because there was a little ignorance, and then I didn't like it more because I caused a coworker to she didn't leave, she just reduced her hours. And now the ladies are moving into where I live and they want me to like continue working for them, even though I told them I'm looking for another job with health insurance. So what happens is it is like a war. Like you make this agreement, I'm going to work on this big issue. I'm going to work on purification of speech, which is gossip. And maybe for you it's complaining. You have to experience this minor complaining.
right.
And then it's good. And then it's bad. And then it's worse. And then it's not so bad anymore. It's like these reversals keep happening. And then you realize that you're crazy. You thought things were the way they were, but you're just projecting that they were the way they were. And and then I hope this reversal stops, but I get the feeling it hasn't stopped. It's gonna keep. And then Lama Sarani said, when these reversals happen, you should get on your cushion and think about it. Well, I have plenty to meditate on because of all this. Where was
You
that
should be.
moment where I was happy, and then there was a little bit of ignorance, and then my nice coworker decided to reduce her hours, and then I have all this time to myself. And then my supervisor decides she's going to move the ladies into the house close to where I live. And then she asked me if I can still work shifts. But in the meantime, I'm looking for a job with health insurance. It's like, and I wouldn't say it's maddening. I wouldn't say it's driving me crazy. I just say that when you start trying to work on your main mental affliction. It's like things will go one way and the other, and you can even probably see that point, but really the point was way back. It already happened because of your past deeds, and that's the problem. It's because of your
Right.
past deeds.
Janet, that's great. I'm rejoicing in your shifts. Yay. Joanna, yes.
Sometimes I catch myself when these shifts happening that, now finally my seed is ripening and I want it to stay. And this is the suffering in itself. Because
Yeah.
I wanted to be fixed and now nothing is going to ripen anymore. So it would be just like sticking in the process and
Right.
it's not going to happen. And it's like, so I'm trying to practice this kind of being in the flow, and this is really hard to accept whatever comes,
Yeah.
because it's always this. If you go for gossip or for one specific topic, still, even though seeds we might have planted better seeds in the recent past, we don't know when they ripen and how big they have grown, and it's somehow there's everything inside still from the past too. So there's not only one seed of whatever ripening, there's always many seeds. And this is the tough lesson that I try to kind of get along with. I always wanted to be stable at some point.
Yeah.
It's never
Great.
going to be.
But in
But
some
there
ways,
are times,
you
sorry,
can have
yeah,
more stability if you just don't say anything. Because once I said something, I opened up a path. And if I had just kept witness standpoint and not said anything, the changes would have happened anyway. I just made it worse by saying something.
Yeah, we are planting other seeds than when we are speaking, that's right. But still, even if we don't speak, there's seeds at least ripening, and we still with the thoughts we are planting. So there's still process going on, and this is what I mean. There's still process going on, no matter how good bump on the log we are. It's still moving, the thing,
Yeah.
the
but
projection.
I
It's
think,
not stopping.
yeah, I'm my thoughts are that once we realize that there's something good going on, first, uh, uh, for me, I would rejoice. Then I would dedicate it out. So I find that in this way, um, I do have repeated good stuffs coming back. I sort of recycle the seeds. You know, Yeah. So I mean, so far this past few months, I've been doing that. Every time I think that, oh, I'm experiencing something good, or I think there's something good happening in my environment, so I will rejoice. I rejoice that everybody's experiencing it, and then I rededicate it out to everybody who wants it, and back to my future self, so that I get to feel it again.
Yeah.
And I find that it keeps coming back. I don't know, it could be I'm just
Right.
psychologically
Mhm.
experiencing it.
That's called practice.
I like the recycling the seeds thing.
Yeah.
That's
Recycling.
really cool. Yeah.
So Nagarjuna has pointed out that all those causes and effects, they aren't happening in the way we believe they're happening, but not that they're not happening at all. And then our Kachik goes, yeah, but right? Because we hear it wrongly. And then that starts all these different chapters. And I'm blanking out on the sequence of them. But it was, about, but Buddha said we exist with our heaps or our elements, right? We went through all those different ways that we think we exist because somehow we felt threatened. Are you saying that there's no such thing as cause and effect? Come on, I do stuff, right? Come on, Buddha said there is, so. And then blah, blah, blah. So we go through these different chapters where he's showing our mind finding resistance to his conclusions of the chapter on more and more subtle levels. Whether somebody's actually talking to him or not, right? He's predicting what we need to hear, probably because he knows I could read his chapter and not be astute enough to even recognize the specific of how my mind is resisting his conclusion. So his next chapter points out my own misunderstanding because I didn't understand it. So then I need to understand the misunderstanding of that chapter, right? I mean, it's a pretty skillful book. So at some point we met up with, no, I am the thing that functions. And, I'm the one who desires, I'm the one who, makes the thing happen. You can't say I have no nature because I do so have to be there because he's right. It's like when we hear him saying, I have no nature, there's some part of us that says, he's saying, I don't really exist. Like I'm some figment of my imagination. We hear that term, right? I am. No, but so anyway, this chapter 10 comes out of our apparent critique from chapters like 6, 7, 8, 9, which is about desire and the one who desires, action and the one who acts, blah, 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 where we follow the arguments. Yeah, okay, no nature, but no nature, what? I do so exist because I am like fire and firewood. I am a functioning thing with the same relationship to the things that I do as fire and firewood, right? Everybody knows you can't have fire, the action, without something burning. So our critique is saying, see, I know I do stuff, I experience it. So that proves that I have to be there doing it for it to happen, right? Our critique is using fire and firewood as our proof that I do so have my own nature because I do stuff. And Nagarjuna says, okay, let's look at your analogy of fire and firewood. If it's true that proves that you have to be there first to be the one who's doing the thing you're doing, then that means that firewood must be there burning before the fire's been lit. Because you, the burning functioner, right, have to already have it in you in order to do it. And so that chapter 10 was all these, about fire and firewood to show us that that's a mutually arising situation, right? You can almost not even call it a relationship, but this mutually arising happening. And in the end, he says, and that's true for everything. water vases, skies, ideas, and there's not a verse in chapter 10 that says, and check that out with your heaps. But in the commentaries, they say it would be a good idea to go back and use chapter 10 to look at, well, how we believe our me relates to our 5 heaps. Because part of this mistaken reaction to I have no nature is something about our 5 heaps. And we've studied the 5 heaps in previous chapter, right? Is there a me independent of the 5 heaps? We say me and my 5 heaps. That sounds like a 6th thing, doesn't it? Me independent, but that can't be. And then we looked at, well, am I there first and then I take on the heaps, or are the heaps somewhere and I step into them? Or, so we all went through those different heaps. And then, so these different commentaries say, check on the relationship between our me and our 5 heaps in the same way that we investigated the relationship between a thing called firewood, meaning the burning wood, and the fire, the action, the actor and the action. So you guys all did that beautifully last week with the heap of form, feeling, ability to discriminate between things, consciousness. And my job was to do all the other factors. Yes, Joanna.
I just have a question that I couldn't ask last week because I was too late. I'm so sorry. I was wondering, is there some other conclusion that we were supposed to get from chapter 10 compared to chapter 4? Because when I did the heap of form, it was so similar, and I was like, you're missing a point. You're missing a point. You've studied that already in chapter 4, and I was looking for the point. He's bringing it up again, so we have done some steps in between. We should have grown some understanding that I probably didn't grow because I didn't see the difference. And I wasn't sure if he just wants us to repeat that from another angle. So with the new perspective, having more security or more a deeper understanding, or if there was really a twist that I missed.
Well, Janet, go ahead.
My sense with Master Chandrakirti, and this is going to the commentary and not this text, is this is all symbolic to him. So, like, the firewood is like this vehicle, this cart that's made out of wood, and then the fire of enlightenment is like the fire that burns up the cart, and we're the cart. We're the cart made out of these parts of the heaps. And that the fire of wisdom is gonna burn up the cart. That's my sense from and I haven't read the whole thing. I just sort of scanned it, but he sees this as what happens to those heaps after the cause creates the fire. Then the cause is no longer there.
Nice.
But it was never there, or was it? I don't know.
Good.
Thank you.
You're sounding a lot like Master Chandrakirti.
And I thought it was mean-spirited, but I reread it. It's actually not mean-spirited. It's more like questioning. It's mean-spirited because I'm attached to the self and I'm attached to the heaps. But if I wasn't attached, is it really mean-spirited? Because a wonderful thing has happened. The fire has burned the cart.
Right.
This is not a bad thing. But then if I'm attached to the cart, that's a bad thing.
It's a bad thing, right? We get offended by that fire. how dare they do that to my 5 heat?
But
Right?
it's the fire of wisdom. But
Yeah.
it's what we want.
Yes. Nice. So the chapter 10 was that all that semantical appearing discussion about, which is there first. And if firewood is represents the me, and the burning represents the thing that I do, right? The function. That is what we're saying proves that I exist because I'm doing the function. Right? It's that he points out, well, wait a minute, are you firewood before there's fire? Are you the doer of the deed before you're doing the deed? Well, no, of course not. I don't become the doer of the deed until I'm doing the deed. Well, he says, well, then the deed makes you the doer of the deed. But no, that can't be because I have to be there. Right? We went through that like, and it's like, but it was all pertinent to helping us feel this swing that our tenacious holding to that me that functions is in control in some way, which it isn't that we're not. It's that the appearance of being in control when we have that, right, is driven by the whole system we're trying to realize through studying this book that's helping us look and recognize how we misunderstand and trying to crack it open and let this alternative reveal itself. Thank goodness we know the punchline. I have to admit to myself, we think we know the punchline, right? We have words for the punchline, but in all truth, right, I have an idea of the punchline, but it may or may not be accurate. It's not accurate. So our tenacious me and lost my train of thought. So my job was to look at the heap of all the other factors. That ignorant me is using as part of the proof that my me must have a nature because it has this heap of all the other factors. And of course, Nagarjuna will say, your argument about you must have a heap of all other factors is proof that you have no nature. So that you can have that heap. Okay. And that's the where my angel devil goes back and forth. No nature means I'm not there. He says, no nature means you are what you are in any given moment. No nature means you're never not. If you think you have a true nature, be prepared to lose it because you're gonna. Because your true nature includes this body and it's on its way out from the moment you're born. So, like, if we really understood our nature, our no nature, it would be such a relief. of so much that we cling to because we misunderstand. And anyway, so what is the heap of all the other factors? It's not the heap of form. It's not our physical body, our physical world. It's not the feeling, positive, negative, neutral, physical, mental. It's not that telling the difference between things, discriminating. And it's not consciousness, awareness, I awareness, ear awareness, etc. In our moment-to-moment experience, what else is there besides physical experience, thumbs up, thumbs down, telling things apart, and the awareness doing all of that? What else is there? Like everything else. My reaction to the thumbs up telling the difference between things. Oh, I like that. I don't like that. I want this. I need to do this. And right, like the heap of all the other factors is a big one. It's going like this constantly. So maybe we could call it our reactions to things, like our emotional feelings. This is just raw data feeling. All the other factors we might call emotions, but it's not, right? We have this category emotions, and then we have this category like intellectual reaction. And that's still within the heap of all the other factors. It's like those 84,000 mental afflictions, right? That they say we're capable of having. We're probably got them going on in some flavor most of the time. That the heap of all the other factors. And so they label things, in all your other factors is joy, love, courage, despair, anger, resentment, right? All of those. It feels like our reactions to things is this heap. So in our heap of all the other factors, let's just pick one to work with to see if we can investigate what we think is our cause-effect relationship between me and that specific, all the other factor that makes me up, piece of the heap, and to see if we can show ourselves that it does not in fact prove that I am a functioning thing, which is what we're trying to prove in this chapter. I am so a functioning thing because I am like the firewood that makes the fire burn. I have to be there. So I have to be there to whatever all the other factors we're going to choose. So choose one. Love, fear, eagerness, courage, anger, competitiveness, needy, humility, joy, anxiety, right? Like what? What one shall we work on? Be bold, prove, pick one.
My first thought was pride.
Pride. All right.
And joy sparks joy, so that would be my second choice.
Pride. So pride, there's different kinds of pride. One pride is, I'm always right. And right, anybody who questions or doubts is like the enemy, right? I'm just going to be I'm going to inflate it. The other kind of pride, another kind of pride is, you know, my needs are the most important. And you may not think you're the best at what you do, right? You don't have this big bravado. Just under the surface is, you know, mine are more important than yours. And then another kind of pride is really that snotty pride, right? I'm better than you. Don't even get close to me. So which one do you want to work with?
I know it better.
You have your own personal. I have my own personal. I know it better. Okay. So our Kachik position is for me to be experiencing a situation in which I know better than them. I have to be there, Nagarjuna. So come on. Even if you say those other heaps, you can't really show that you are the functioning thing that is functioning. Here, this one, right? I have those prideful feelings. I know best. Don't argue with me. Just listen to me. Just do what I say. Because I do know best. And that proves that I am there with my own nature. So Nagarjuna would say, well, let's check it out to see if it's true that the fact that you're in this situation where you know better than the other person is happening, if that in fact proves that you have your own nature to be there doing that. So one way to check into that is to say, to look, does that me with its own nature cause the I know best experience happening? Or does the I know best experience happening cause the me? Or does something else cause the me experiencing the I know best? Or does nothing cause the me experiencing I know best? Right? Those are our four options. There's no other option. So let's check. Me there. Situation arises. I know the answer. This is what we should do. It would be best for everybody. And somebody else has a different idea. Did the me cause that heap of pride in that moment? Like what? Do we cause it on purpose? Do we cause it like, why else would we cause something? If we are the cause of something, is it, and it's not by choice, then what's the cause of the cause? Right? If it's not, if we are the cause and it's not by choice, then right, why would we, right, do you see the conundrum? So then if we really are the cause of something, it has to be by choice. And why would you ever choose something that would cause your own self upset, which we get upset when somebody else disagrees that we know best? So why would you say, I know best, when you know somebody might disagree with you, right? It's absurd. It's absurd to say we shouldn't speak up. That's not the conclusion. What we're trying to get is this relationship. We think there's a me there. And then, right, we have an experience and we react to the experience. And through the whole thing, we're thinking that there's this independent me that's just reacting to independent things. And then we, get hurt, be happy, etc., and we justify all of it. So we think the me causes what comes next. But then in this case, we don't even want to say, well, me caused me caused my pride that now makes me upset. Like, it's like, okay, why would I do that? So we don't want to actually admit that me causes it. If we start out thinking me causes it, and then we investigate it, we backpedal really fast. No, right? No, I don't do that. It's because I just know, I do know better. So technically, the other's reaction to resist my knowing better is what triggers my pride. They cause it. Right? My pride's not really a problem. They trigger, you just think you know best. It's like, yeah, I do. It's your problem that you don't see my suggestion as better than yours, right? It's like our So do they cause our pride? We have a suggestion, they disagree. There's nothing about their disagreement that has to make us go, right? Have that feeling that after the fact we label as recognizing our pride. So we certainly didn't choose it ourselves. And now that we look to see whether they actually cause it, we have to admit, no, they're part of what's going on, but it's not fair to say that they actually caused my pride, because it had to be in me to begin with. Not knowing even anything about seeds, it's my pride, not theirs. Their reaction triggers it, so I could blame it on them, but not the pride itself. They didn't cause it. Well, if I didn't cause it and they didn't cause it, some other outer factor caused it. And we go looking, oh, my parents taught me to think like that. Or, oh, right, we go looking for somebody else to blame. But then we're in the same situation. Let's check. And we find the same kind of conundrum. It's like, no, right? Those are all contributing factors, but they can't be the real cause. And so is our conclusion that has no cause at all? No, I mean, nothing, everything is results. Every experience is result. So there had to be a cause somewhere. So Arya Nagarjuna says, look, me and my pride, they have no natures. Our conclusion would be, see, me and my pride has no nature. Yeah, Elsie, your hand is up. Let's go there before I start. So I'm going off in a different direction.
Yeah, I'm thinking that our pridefulness is more of a condition that it's conditioning that we were brought up with. Yeah, like sometimes when like between me and my mom, I will always tell her things. You know, you shouldn't be. You should try to do this, and you will do better and all. And then she would turn around and say, because Chinese has this phrase, or our Asian has this phrase where I take more salts than you take rice. Which means I have more experience than you, so you don't have to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And then we'll be on loggerheads, So it's more of a, for me, I look at it as it's a conditioning from a young age where the elderly always is always right. So now, if you're a younger person and you try to correct them, so
Yeah.
that's where you'll be stepping on toes, and so. But if I'm the cause of this pride, then where did I plant the seed, and in what condition did I plant it? So I think we need to look into. Of course, we will know when, but would would this also? I mean, when we are imparting our knowledge to someone, could we have unknowingly planted this seed? Of oh, this is how it goes. Science says this and this and this and this and this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no,
Right.
it's not
You know,
easy.
right. Right. And those kinds of patterns are helpful to recognize. It's like we've probably all been the old person who some young person says, you should da 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 da. And we go, "Meh," don't tell me what I should do. And yet me as the parent was telling the child all the time, you should do this, you should do that, you should, right? And then, right, duh, it's gonna come back, not even from that life, but previous life. So we have this pattern. So as you say, if we see, where are we doing that? It's like maybe anytime we say to anybody, you should do blah, 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 because should means I'm imposing something I know on you, as opposed to, an alternative would be blah, 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 or you might consider da, 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 and then it does touch on the pride even that we're talking about. It's like, if I'm not having kids, I don't really know, but I remember being a kid, and I don't remember my parents ever saying, you should do this, you have to do that. But they would lay out like what needed to be done. We had all our chores, and it's like, this is your responsibility as part of this family, right? Is to do this and to go to school. Like, your job, kids, is to go to school. My job, mom, right? Grocery shop, clean the house, take care of you. Dad's job, you have jobs too, go to school, right? Take it seriously. And it wasn't you should, you have to, but it was very clear, right? That there were lines. So that if I, as a interactor with someone else, is believing that I know best, like you're in the supervisor role and your job is to direct people. You're supposed to say, you should do that, you should do this, you should do that. But we're planting the seeds then for some future life to be the old person, right? You should do blah, blah, blah. And then resist if we resisted when somebody told us, right? And it's just a language thing. The feeling of being told what to do versus invited, suggested, shown the advantage of doing it this way. But it takes more work, more effort, more involvement to skillfully get somebody to do what you need for them to do than to just tell them to do it. So it's hard. And then it perpetuates that sense of pride. But like these patterns, we're looking for these patterns that even if we can't think back and go, oh yeah, I remember doing that when I was, 15, to just know that we did. And where am I doing it now? To stop it. And where have I done the opposite? And be happy about it and do more, right? That's always the pattern. And I'm not great at, breaking down the pattern and saying, oh, okay. But really it's quite simple. Hard to do, but simple. Let's take our break. I yacked right through it again. Me. I'm going to leave the recording going, so there'll be a pause there. Okie doke. So me and I know best. I know best right now is what we're investigating. This relationship. So Nagarjuna would say, I propose me and I know best right now. They have no nature. And we go, what? You mean they're not real? What? You mean they're not happening? What? You mean they're not true? I do so exist. I am so me, and I am knowing what's best right now. Like, I am angry. I am fearful. We use those words in English, at least. I don't know about other languages. Why do we say, I am knowing what's best right now? Like we say, I am Sarani, which, just by the way, I don't say anymore. I say my name is Sarani because I don't identify with the name. I'm trying to not. I do, I have to admit, but you get it, just to change the language. So I don't replant. I'm something more than Sarani or less, I'm not sure what. Anyway, in English, we use that term, I am, in these different ways, and there's a name for that, but the purpose is, even though we know what we mean, we think we know what we mean, right? The imprint getting made is telling about our misunderstanding. So if I am knowing what's best were accurate, that would be like saying firewood is fire, or vice versa. And if that were true, that firewood is fire, they would be one and the same thing. If it's true that I am knowing what's best right now, then they would be one and the same thing. And if they are one and the same thing, then firewood would always have to be burning. And then that would mean that a piece of firewood could never burn out. A fire could never burn out. There would never not be fire. And that's absurd. There's not fire everywhere. Fires do burn out. I am knowing what's best would have to always be like, wow, we want to hear that, right? There's a part of us like, yeah, I do. But that means it could never wear out, right? We would never not be knowing what's best. And, we have to admit in life, there are times that we don't know best, and we know we don't know best, and we're not struggling with it. So it cannot be the case that it's true that I am knowing what's best right now. Although that's the words we're using in our own mind in a situation where we're having this conflict, where this feeling is arising. I do so know best. I am knowing what's best. So if me and knowing what's best are one and the same thing, it would not need a trigger. It would never not be that. But then we say, but no, but me has to be there first. even if I have the I know best all the time, like I didn't have it when I was first born. Probably I had it when I was 2, right? And I was learning. I was reacting to everybody saying, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. Right. And then the little kid goes, no, no, right, at 2. And then, it's like it's inconsistent with life to say, I've always known best and I always will know what's best. But either way, there has to be a me there to experience it, to be that. There has to be there. Like firewood, the fuel has to be there in order to get lit on fire. So me has to be there first, Nagarjuna. And then something happens. And then all the other factor I know best arises. And then that I am knowing what's best arises. So the knowing what's best is caused by something else. They said that thing to me, and I felt this reaction. And I know best about that. Right? Lighting the firewood sets the firewood to burning. So the cause of the burning is the lighting of the firewood. It implies that the fire is already in the lighting. And it's in the match, right? The fire's in the match. Here's what's going to become firewood. It's not firewood yet. It's just wood. The fire's over here. It has to touch the wood. Oops, right? Now we go in that direction. At what point does the fire actually touch the wood that turns the wood into the fire? So same for what is it in the situation that touched what is it in me that lit the I know best, that made me become I know best. If there was something in their trigger and it were true, then anybody that heard them say that would be triggered into them knowing best what to do. But we can have a scenario, right? And we've been in scenarios where a group of people hears somebody, right, set out a situation, and into my mind pops, I know what's best to do. And everybody has different suggestions. And our mind says, no, 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 no. Right? Because we're not, right? That didn't trigger. Or maybe the other people go, I don't know what to do. If the words triggered for me, I know what to do, it should trigger it in everybody. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. And if ever it doesn't, then it couldn't for me either. Something else has to be involved. So we just said it can't be coming from me because then it would be one and the same. It can't be coming from them or it happened to everybody and it doesn't. I'm looking at my notes. I wrote this all out, thank goodness. On a more subtle level, in this analogy of me and my pride, and firewood and fire. Which one's which? Right? We've been saying, I do so exist because I function. So is firewood the doer and the fire the thing it's doing? Or is fire the doer and the burning the firewood, which is what makes firewood firewood, the thing it's doing? Like we could look at it either direction. If me is the firewood, the fuel, then the I know best is the firewood. If the firewood is the fire, the doer and the deed would be the same, says the verse. If fire is separate from its fuel, fire could happen without its fuel. So if me and my I know best are the same, right? If me, the doer of the deed, and the deed I do is coming from me, then we are one and the same. If the I know best and the me are separate, then the I know best can be over there down the street and me over here. And that's ridiculous. Doesn't happen like that. Sometimes I feel that way and sometimes I don't. Can't be one and the same. If the I know best is separate from me, it could be sitting on a park bench somewhere while I'm over here. And that doesn't happen either. Existing without me. My feeling I know best can't happen without me. Can it? And even if it could happen without me, then it would not be the I know best that I feel. Right? It wouldn't be mine if it's happening without me. It has to come from me. And if it comes from me, but isn't me, it can't have a nature of its own. It's like, I don't know, is that really a logical conclusion? If it isn't me, but it's related to me, because it can't be related to other, it can't have its own nature because it's depending on me to be it. But then I'm depending on it to be having it at the moment. Which comes first? Right? Go back to the scenario. There I am. That person's sitting. Whoa, I know what's best. Up it comes. We think I was there first. I wasn't having that experience. They said something. What they said triggered that experience. And then up comes the pride. And, nothing wrong with that scenario, except that it's mistaken. The blaming the situation for bringing up the feeling. But wait, without the situation, the feeling would not have arisen. So it is the situation. No, it's not the situation. It's something, right? That one of these shape-shifting happenings arising. The the term we use, Geshe Michael doesn't use it, is this mutual arising. Because it doesn't sound like something you'd say, you know, to your waitress at the grocery store. I like the grocery store. Mutual arising. But it works. Out of the constant shapeshift is this shapeshift, me knowing best, happening. And with the me knowing best, this separation, when what we're trying to have is our wisdom, me knowing best happening, me feeling I'm knowing best happening, because then we can, I don't know, stay just a teeny bit separate and decide whether we want to act from that feeling or not. Because maybe we do know best, maybe we don't know best. How we verbalize in response to whatever the situation is can, and the reaction we're going to get from that is unrelated to whether we know best or don't know best. It's related to how we responded when somebody who thought they knew it all, right, said something to us. So the conclusion is not, oh, well, then I'll never give my opinion at all. The conclusion is how I express my opinion will contribute to uplift or not. And what do I want to try to do? It's just trying, right? The whole time making effort to plant seeds in ways that when they come back to us, we'll be happy about it. Yes, Janet.
There's kind of, well, maybe I just see it this way. There's overlays with 12 step, and one of the phrases is, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
Yeah,
And it's
go
not
ahead.
about their happiness or your happiness. It's about the rightness of the situation or the happiness of the situation. So it gets
Beautiful.
kind of complicated.
Yeah,
Because you don't want to, if your grandson drinks and he wants beer, you can give him beer and he'll be happy.
yeah,
But that's not what they mean about
right.
him being happy or you being happy. It's the whole situation.
Yeah,
So
beautiful.
I don't know. I think a lot of people struggle until they die with this situation. Do
Nah, totally. I'm with you.
you want to
Yeah,
be right or do you want a happy situation? And how do you do that?
yeah.
Because, that's the other thing about 12 step is that there are things you are powerless to change.
Mhm.
So you may not have the power to make the situation happy, honestly.
Right, right, right. Like ultimately, we understand there's nothing we can't change. But absolutely, it's true that in this life, there are things we can't change. And we do, right, benefit from giving over to that. I don't know the terms that they use in the 12-step system, but giving over to that fact and working in the arena in which we can
They have a serenity prayer.
yeah, nice. Surrender, that's nice. Mm.
And my Ne Lama says, because you're a Lama too, Ne Lama says, you can't just use your seeds to what you want. It doesn't work that way. And so your positive seeds might not be to your next life. And that's just the way it is.
Right, right. I agree. So as we're going through this sequence, I and my I know best are not one and the same thing. I don't cause it by choice. I see now that it really isn't something somebody else can make happen, can trigger. It can't be in their words. It can't be in the situation. it is true that I have that experience. And it is true that it can only be my experience. Like nobody else can experience it the way I experience it. And the quality itself can't have its own nature. It can't come out of the particular words somebody said, or every time they say those words, it would trigger that quality. If that quality, was a part of me, I would have it all the time. And sometimes I don't, right? All these different reasonings that we use to come to the conclusion that there's a situation, a feeling, a sensation arises, and I put the identity, that quality, that identity onto that experience, that feeling, that reaction. I do that. That's unique to me. So I do cause my own, all the other factor. As each one arises, it's coming from me. Right? The actual cause effect is that something in me has stirred forth that experience. I am knowing what's best. Silly me. So all those other factors, heap, all of them. They're not in them, from them. They're not from somebody else triggering them. They're not from me by choice, but they are a part of me, right? They are rising with every one of the experiential happenings moment by moment. I am always there, and a reaction to what's going on is always there. It's like between the subject, object, and the interaction between, it's a big piece that all the other factors heap is that big piece of the experience between. I'm not saying that's only what's in the experience. So if it's coming from me, but not by my choice, then those other factors, we really could say they have no nature. We want to say they have no nature of their own. Then we all go, oh yeah, they have no nature of their own. They have some nature, but not of their own. It's so much more comfortable for my mind. And it's okay to stay at that level. But if we want to push ourselves, we want to get a deeper conclusion about whatever we're talking about. When we hear our conclusion be, oh, so it has no nature at all. Right? I feel a difference. Check your own mind. The blue sky has no nature at all, versus the blue sky has no nature of its own. Which one feels more comfortable? The blue sky has no nature at all. That blue sky has no nature of its own. Yeah, so why is no nature of its own more comfortable? Yeah,
To me,
Janet.
it sounds. Oh, sorry.
Joanna, go.
To me, it sounds less like it's not existing at all.
Right.
So it's still the option that it's existing, but not in the way that I think it's more triggering this thought to me, this expression.
Me too. It doesn't know it no nature of its own doesn't make us flirt with its non-existence. So why doesn't high school say no nature of its own? It's high school that says no nature. You don't need the words no nature of its own, no nature.
I mean, doesn't the game change once you get, I can't remember which boomy, past the seventh boomy.
Yeah.
And you're looking at negating karmic seeds existing.
That is true too.
And it's a different game. And we're not at that point. I mean, you can only be where we're at. We're at the point of dealing with the consequences of our actions.
Right.
So I would say the highest school is at a place that it's like the future. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, right, ever.
Though, I guess Arya Nagarjuna gets into that. We just don't have the translations for those chapters. And it's maybe fitting because dealing with the present moment is something very real that we can work on. That is
Right,
true. And then
right.
working on these things that we're not at the level to work on is a good big picture, but it really doesn't help us functionally get to deal with the enemy of our self-grasping self, if that is really the issue.
Correct.
So I hope one day that Geshe Michael gets us the commentaries and then the rest. But I mean, I could see why he kind of put it on the back burner because it's really not what we're working on right now.
I did see recently, who was it? Tracy McKenzie is hot on the trail of getting these verses for us. And, she's not been able to find them either. But she shared with me that in Geshe Michael's intro to the current class that's going on in Japan right now, I don't understand all of that. That he said something like, I've had so many people requesting the complete translation of Nagarjuna's root text. He said that I've decided I'll do it as a gift to this first class of the new whatever it is happening in Japan. So it's like, whoa, at least he said that he will make it, right? A translation of the root text. And it's like, wow, yay. May I live long enough for it to filter right down from the elite, right, down to puny me. So we'll cross our fingers, right, that will actually show up within our lifetime. But I agree with you, Janet. Meanwhile, let's get really prepared, right, with working with our now so that when that text shows up, man, it will just blow our socks off with what we can understand from it. Mm. So I kept going back and forth with these, trying to explain, right, this part that I was trying to reach that would just really go, oh, yeah, I get this thing about me. I do so exist because I do things, and get it to shift to, wow, right? it's not about exist or not exist. It's not, it's about, you know, what Janet said, it's about the situation happy, right? The situation positive for everybody involved, and the shape-shifting. And like that, every time he says something has no nature, it's not an affront to our existence, because we can't not exist. And that really is a keen realization to come to, that non-existence is impossible. Not just unlikely, but impossible. And it's really based on the, I was level school 2 saying, what's the definition of existence? That which is perceived by a valid perception. And it sounds so simple. And we go, oh, that's just those Tibetans defining everything. But if you think about it, it's like, for there to be anything existing, there has to be an awareness of it. Otherwise, you couldn't say whether it existed or not. Which, if nobody can say whether everything exists or not, then doesn't exist. So the fact that we're aware now proves that non-existence is impossible. And it's useful because when we're going deeper and deeper and deeper into a meditation on the empty nature of anything, but especially our own self nature, we will hit this place where it can trigger the reaction that we're going into annihilation. And if you still believed annihilation was possible, it would kick you out. And if you already had that deep aha, that feeling annihilation is just another ripening, you'll be able to stay there and go deeper underneath and not kick you out, whether you're doing it with your subtle body or you're doing it with meditative concentration. Why am I going there? Because of this reaction we have to the word no nature. It's an existential thing. And yet if we leave that possibility that there's something that has no nature that we can be working with, that something that's outside the system is then something we can't change. And then Buddhahood's not possible, is the reason for the argument about no nature versus no nature of its own. And again, I agree with Janet. Like, the important thing is working with the understanding at the level we can work with. And if we're in the situation with the angry yelling boss, thinking about whether they exist or not is not going to be so helpful. But thinking about, all right, no nature of their own. This experience is unique to me. They're bringing up my feeling of blah, blah, blah. It's not really from them. It's my seeds ripening this whole situation. What do I want to plant for the greater good of everybody involved? I'm feeling, I know best. Would you just shut up and let me solve the problem? But we know that if that's what we say, it's just going to make them more upset. I'm sorry you're upset. How can I help? Like, we don't have to react from all the other factor heap that's coming up at the moment. We don't have to react to that. We don't have to have it be the criteria for our next action. The benefit of understanding the no self nature then is also, it's just like I'm just seeing it, is also that no self nature recognition of the reaction I'm feeling in the face of what they're doing coming at me. That reaction doesn't have to be what I'm calling it. I don't have to act from it the way I want to act from it. Maybe the way I want to act isn't the most highly motivated. Maybe it is. But when we get this separation, because we understand the no self natures, we can have a greater ability to choose a response instead of just automatic pilot react. And that's our in the now opportunity to try on for size the things that we're learning, right, in our spiritual practice work. Are we always going to get a good result in the moment? Not necessarily. But does that mean that the system doesn't work? No, it's proof that it does, right? Because what we think, say, and do in the moment is not the trigger for what comes to us in the next moment. But to it, what's coming at us seems to be coming at us now and now and now is ripening seeds from before. What we do in the moment is planting seeds for later. All we have is the now and now and now to interact with. Fire, wood, and fuel. Me and all the other factors heap, we're not one and the same thing. We're not separate things. We're not me cause it or it causes me. We are mutual arising. We are constant shape-shifting subject-object interaction between. Right? Our lotus turning mudra. Happening, 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 happening. In his chapter 10, his verse 7 says, consider the two, fuel and fire. If each is defined by the other, then even the fact that fire is something different than its fuel depends upon the assertion that fire interacts with fuel. Trying to say, look, they arise together. They're not cause and effect, but they do arise together, forced to do so as a result of something else. Figure out the something else, and we can figure out how to make it such that all the things that arise together are always beneficial for everybody. Right? It's not going to be any one thing that we do. It's going to be what we understand as we do everything that we do that will create, that will shift the experience of subject-object interaction between into something that's always positive, always pleasurable, always useful for everybody. Right? That's the promise. So chapter 10, I do so exist, Nagarjuna, because I function, I do stuff. We've looked at it in all these different ways. Our argument, I exist because I do stuff, is not valid. It does not mean we don't exist, and it does not mean we don't do stuff. We do stuff. And we do exist. But we don't exist first and then do stuff. right? The I doing stuff is evidence of existing happening. And for that to be true, the me, the other, and the interaction between can't have their own natures. They can only have this dependent origination nature. And that's going to lead us to chapter 11. Like, what does our Kachik still say? Like, okay. But wait a minute, Nagarjuna. Chapter 11 is going to be technically an analysis of beginnings and endings. So if we use that title for the chapter, then maybe Kachika said, well, wait a minute, Nagarjuna, if you're saying things are just this constant shape-shifting, then there's just this morph from one thing to the next. You know, you wouldn't ever be able to determine where one thing starts and another thing begins, right? It would just be this nebulous, weird shape-shifting. And like life is not like that. Things start, things stay, things end. It can't be that it's just this constant mutual arising. You can't really tell the difference between things. So think about this idea or belief that we have that functioning things, including myself, must have a beginning and an ending. It's been our experience, and it must happen the way it looks, because it seems like it's everybody's experience. And then we'll see where we go from that. Okay, I see that me, functioning thing, it's really this just constant shape-shifting happening. But wait, there's beginnings and endings, Nagarjuna. Okay? So I'm more confused than ever. I hope you're not. Either way, remember that person we wanted to be able to help? We learned stuff that we will use to help them stop their distress forever, and we won't do it by telling them what they have to do. But we will help them. And that's a great goodness. So please be happy with yourself. And think of this goodness like a beautiful glowing gemstone you can hold in your hands. Recall your own precious holy being. See how happy they are with you. Feel your gratitude to them, your reliance upon them. Ask them to please stay close. Continue to guide you, help you, inspire you. And then offer them this gemstone of goodness. See them accept it and bless it. And then carry it with them right back into our hearts. See them there, feel them there. Their love, their compassion, their wisdom. It feels so good, we want to keep it forever. And so we know to share it by the power of the goodness that we've just done. May all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So use those 3 long exhales to share this goodness with that one person, to share it with everyone you love, to share it with every existing being everywhere. See them all filled with happiness, filled with loving kindness, and just transformed. And may it be so. Okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity. This class is fun.
Thank you. Thank you for exploring
Yes,
the